Well, hello everyone. I am Susan Budge, and I am actually here with Tonya King. Say hi, Tonya.
Hi.
Tonya is a creative partner of Kiwi Lane, but she just recently came aware of the Play to Create system, and we were able to chat a little bit, get to know each other, and then of course she just started telling me her story. And I just love when people tell me their stories because, one, I resonate with it because of course I hear my own story in other people's story, like as they went through the process of, I don't know, realizing certain things about simplifying scrapbooking and creativity and kind of what that brought into their lives. And so, of course, I wanted to naturally share it with all of you guys because I hope that you guys find joy in other people's stories as well, as much as I do. So let's start there, Tonya. Just honestly tell me what you were telling me the other day. Like, I just found it so intriguing. You
Yes,
were
Susan.
sharing about how you've heard of Kiwi Lane and why you were even looking in the first place.
So, how I discovered Kiwi Lane was through Pinterest because that is like my go-to website for inspiration. Totally. So, I don't know how many boards. I have over 40,000 pins. I just looked at it the other day. I'm like, whoa, I must be obsessed. But what got me started? I've been scrapbooking for 20 years, and of course, when the Cricut scene hit, I jumped on board with that. So I had my original Cricut was the first one they came out with, and then the Cricut Maker. So I'm like, oh, this is great, this is perfect, whatnot, and it is. It's a great product,
Mm-hmm.
I do use it, but I found myself cutting and cutting for hours and hours just to prepare for a crop. And I said, okay, I'm spending all these hours cutting out these images and things that I need to set up these pages just just so I can crop for a few hours or even have a few hours of scrapbooking. There has to be a simpler way because I'm not lugging my machine. I'm not doing that. There's got to be a simpler way to scrapbook and still get the look that I'm looking for. So that's when I went on my adventure in Pinterest, and I just kept putting in different searches like simple scrapbooking, easy scrapbooking, fast scrapbooking, die cut scrapbooking, and it just kept directing me. I kept seeing all these beautiful layouts, and it was Kiwi Lane, and I was like, "What?" I asked my best friend Wendy. I said, "What is this Kiwi Lane? Kiwi Lane? Have you heard of it?" She said, "I have not." So we went on an adventure and investigated Kiwi Lane, and I said, oh my gosh. And then of course, a lot of the links on Pinterest send you to YouTube. So that's when I discovered Susan. And there was all these hundreds of YouTube videos with Susan showing Kiwi Lane. And I was like, this is phenomenal. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And there I was. I said, I have to become a partner. I love the product. I really do. I love the simple process behind it. And I'm using up my stuff.
Right.
I'm using up my paper and my stickers and all the stuff that I've had for 20 years. Y'all, this is not no lie. I've had stuff for 20 years in my stash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm like everybody else. But yeah, super, super excited. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm hooked. I'm hooked. And I hate to say, but my Cricut Maker's sitting over there with their dust cover over the top, and I have not used it. Yeah, probably about 2 months, 3 months. Well, since I signed on with Kiwi Lane and discovered it, and I think this was February when I discovered Kiwi Lane. So I really haven't used it.
Well, and it's interesting that you think about, because what you're going to discover is that naturally you're trying to use up your stuff right now, but I do think there will come a season. So I just want to verbally announce it because I do think that there's a compatible like where you can find use for the Cricut within the system.
Yes.
But I do agree that that's kind of how, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I hear your story and my story because I have a picture where I scream for a Cricut and I have this sign and I'm holding it, and I was so adamant to win one of the new Cricuts when it came
Yes.
out. And I was like, oh, Cricut. And I mentioned this could be any kind of cutting machine, but just this history of scrapbooking, right? Where we kind of went through this process and then it went to the machines. But I think we're just talking about it. So whether others agree with it or not, but So I have this, and I had a Cricut. I went through the process, just like everything you're sharing, and it wasn't too far-fetched where I said, there's got to be a simpler way. I mean, yes, the thing that also, like you were Googling, searching simple layouts, simple scrapbooking layouts. I was searching layouts with more than one picture. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was searching for that. Like, I was looking for that. And so to be able to play instead of search, or to pre-cut, like you were saying, like what do you say? It was more of a chore than fun, because you felt like just to go have fun at a crop, you had to do all your chores before you could go.
That's right. Yeah. It was becoming more of a chore than, relaxation and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is not what scrapbooking is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun and a stress reliever, and, just time to relax and kind of get out of your own head.
Right.
I love that escape of everyday life,
Yeah.
and that's my escape time is scrapbooking.
Yeah. And and it's precious, these moments that you actually can get away and go to a crop or to do these things, it's so precious. And so that's why I think we get uptight or overthink, like trying to lead up to it. It's just like going out of town.
Absolutely.
Right. And you're just like all these things. And I think that's what I heard when you were telling your story for you personally, that you were just like, there's got to be a simpler way that I don't have to spend so much time just to go spend time doing what I love.
That's right. Yeah. And lugging a whole bunch of stuff, so, templates are super easy to transport in their life, but they're easy. And then, other women see me using them and they come over and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, let me tell you what this is.
Right.
And they're like, but you're known as the Cricut lady, because that's what I'm known as crops, is the Cricut lady. And I'm like, but I can still, and they're like, you didn't use your Cricut to hand cut all that? And I'm like, nope, I cut it by hand and I use templates. And they're like, what? And so, I just shared it. Yeah, and I'm like, I can totally hook you up too,
Yeah. And I think that's when we talk to other crafters, scrapbookers, like I'm always like, listen, it's a journey. Like you have to, like, don't knock it until you try it, because I promise I was right there too. And it wasn't even, we're using Cricut, we're using that word, but again, it's just this evolvement into scrapbooking where we went to a machine and it took away more of that hands-on, the play factor, the
that's right
factor, and I think that's when you actually try it again. It does take a minute. I always tell people that, and I think I was telling you that it takes a minute for your brain to just kind of rewire itself again. But once you allow it, you start to pick up the speed. And like you said, that's when I was about to say, then you hit to this next level where you start to, I can use that in my, like, I'll use that paper. Oh, now those stickers, instead of them floating on my page, they have like a structure to them.
Absolutely.
And then of course, like Cricut, like, I'll go cut my title out on my Cricut. I'll go, add the little things. So, but not necessary, but definitely it's such a fulfilling thing to start using what you have. It's so fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Instead of just one more idea, which, in itself, the Play to Create system will give you tons and tons of inspiration just by playing with them. But it is really a tool that gives you practical application, but practical results with your thing as well.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And it's kind of like going back to the basics.
I know.
I got away from the basics for so long. And like you said, I had to retrain my brain. And I'm like, you know what? My hand cuts look just as good as my Cricut cuts. And so I took the pressure off of myself with telling myself, okay, it doesn't have to be a perfect cut. It doesn't. My hand cut is just as pretty. And so I'm happy with it. I'm excited and I'm happy with it. And so the pressure is off of me, and I don't feel like I have to have just the perfect layout every time. So as long as I'm happy with it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And as long as you're happy with it, and as long as you're enjoying the thing and not feeling like a chore, I think that's when I hear others share that they just kind of getting, I don't know, tired. Like they're tired or they want to, but they're like, oh, it's so much work. Like that's how I feel about when I go camping. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Camping is a lot of work, but
it's so much work. And so that ability that we took something that we loved and our brain has now attached another, narrative to it. Like I love when people, like I said, don't knock it until you can try it, and then you can start seeing for yourself. And it's not that it's a replacement. It plays friendly. It plays friendly
yes,
with all of your tools. It plays friendly with all of your supplies, you know. But again, it's a practical tool that will help you utilize so much more than what you have. And when you start seeing your paper diminish and your paper albums your finished albums,
finished.
start increasing, I think
Absolutely.
start really realizing. And it's just kind of like your best china too, like your paper, like use it. You know what I mean? Like use it. Why not use it? You have it, use it. And it's nice to have a tool that allows you to do that. So,
absolutely.
Oh, God. Yeah, I agree. I just don't want anyone to hear that, like think that they're hearing us saying knocking cricket. Like I said, I think that when I hear other stories like yourself, it's not far from like the beginning of my story.
Right.
In the sense of that, and it's not that it's one or the other either. It's just really give it a try, and you will be surprised how compatible and how friendly it can play, and how maybe even not necessary some of that other stuff the shiny stuff that
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, because I was putting so much pressure on myself, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be stressed out with this. This is not, because when you're stressed out by something, it just takes the joy.
Right.
And, we have enough of that going on in life that we need to find joy where we can. Because joy's not going to come find us. We have to go find the joy. So I'm all about finding the joy. And, scrapbooking brings me great joy because I'm scrapbooking moments of my family and friends. And, those are times that bring me happiness. So, yeah, absolutely.
Said your therapy. So.
Oh, completely. Yes.
Oh, yes. Tonya, I'm so excited that you found Kiwi Lane. I'm so excited that you're experiencing it for yourself, and that you get to document those memories. Like you said, it just brings me so much joy. And of course, I'm excited that you're a creative partner. I'm excited to take this journey even more along with you, and to see you even more in the joy that we share together, that common joy that we share. So, is there anything else that you want to share with us?
No, I'm just super excited. I'm super excited about the new fall releases coming in August. Yes, can't wait for that. And then, the next quarter and the Kiwi Kit Clubs, they're awesome. So I highly recommend that. If you're not a member, yes.
Yeah. Check out the Kiwi Clubs for sure.
Yes.
In there. We do put, I think that's we try really hard. For us, when we design our products, or even like the kits each month, it's, again, we always try to come at this from a very much, we are scrapbookers. We use the product ourselves. We aren't just, producing product for others, and we don't go through the emotions. But yeah, when it comes to our paper, like our designing of our paper, it's not just about a bunch of pretty papers. It's how well do those papers work together, so that when the creator, the scrapbooker, goes to use this designed paper that another person designed, it does the job that it's supposed to do. Really.
Absolutely. Right? Yes.
So, so absolutely, I agree with that. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story and just your love for scrapbooking and passion. It shows through, and I hope that you continue to share that with others, and continue to make the time, not find it, because we don't find time. We have to make the time.
We have to make it. That's right. Well, thank you, Susan, so much for chatting with me.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.